Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about spicy intros because we don't want those boring toast intros. We want to keep it spicy. We want to make your intros so spicy that everybody wants to read it. So those boring toast intros, okay, think about like a slice of bread that's been sitting on the counter for a week. It's this toast, crusty bread, and you just bite it. It's like eating sand, just not good. Okay, it'll still feed you. You won't die of starvation, but it's not gonna taste good. It's This is what those boring toast intros sound like. Hi, my name is. For example, you start out your essay, hi, my name is Josh. And that leads into the second one. Today, I'm going to tell you about ninjas. Or today, I'm going to talk to you about squirrels. Today, I'm going to tell you about dogs. Okay? That doesn't hook me in. It gets the point across. It tells you what it's going to be about, but it's not interesting. Or the question, have you ever thought about dogs? Have you ever thought about squirrels? That's not interesting. Those questions, those are things that we do in elementary school because it's a good introduction to introductions. It's a good way to get started learning how to write a good introduction. However, it's not the best way to do it. It's been done before. When people read your essay and they see that, they think, oh man, another one of these. I've seen this before. Another one that's kind of that boring toast intro is, the topic I chose is squirrels. Squirrels are blah, 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 blah. Okay, that sounds so boring because you're not hooking the reader in and making them want to read it. We want those spicy intros, those ones that make you want to read it and go, woo, that was a spicy introduction. I want to read the rest of this essay. Now, there are 4 spicy introductions. The first one is historical. A historical introduction uses an event from history to introduce your topic. For example, it could be from any point in history. It could be from World War II. It could be from the Revolutionary War. It could be from the Civil Rights Movement. It could be from the 80s. It could be from 2 years ago. Okay, anything from history that's going to hook the reader in. For example, according to www.history.com, over 350,000 women enlisted in the armed forces in World War II. This shows that women were just as capable of serving in the military as men. Women are capable of doing anything men can do. Now, that is a way to hook the reader in because they think, oh, I know about World War II. And that gives me an entry point to want to hear more about your essay. Okay? It also adds a little life to it. It gives it a little bit more to read than just, today I'm going to talk to you about why women are capable of doing anything men can do. That doesn't hook me in. This gives me something to ground into, oh man, you're right. Wow, 350,000 women enlisted? That shows me that, cool, women can do anything men can do. And it sets your reader up to want to know more about this topic. So that's the historical introduction. The next one is called an anecdote. An anecdote is a story. Now, it could be a true story from your own life, or an anecdote could be some sort of just a story with a moral to it. Okay, when you're a little kid, you hear a lot of stories with a moral to it. Like you hear a story about a porcupine and a squirrel, and the porcupine doesn't have any cake at the birthday party, and so the squirrel shares it and teaches you the value of sharing. Or if you've ever heard the story of the little engine that he's trying to go up this hill and he can't do it, and then all of a sudden he says, I think I can, and he tries and tries and tries and makes it to the top of the hill. That's a moral to the story. That's an anecdote. Okay, an anecdote is a great way to set up what you're going to talk about, but it gives you that personal connection. Okay, so for example, my claim, if my claim was about, would you ever want to go on a dangerous adventure? Here's an example that would go with that. When I was a little kid, I used to love to play in the creek in my backyard. There were frogs to catch and rocks to jump off of. One day my friend and I walked for a couple of hours down the creek. When it started getting dark, we got out of the creek and walked to the nearest road. I looked up and down the street and didn't recognize anything. We were lost. We started walking up the street until we eventually found a familiar area. But getting lost terrified me. This proved to me that I would never want to go on an adventure. I would be too scared. So you've got your claim, I would never want to go on an adventure, but you've got the story that draws the reader in. I want to know more about that. It gives it some sort of something interesting to catch your attention. Okay? Stories from your own life. Anecdote is probably the best one if you're struggling about which one to go with. Anecdotes, stories about your own life, you know more about your own life than anyone else. So stories about your own life are one of the best ways to get an essay jump started. The next one is a surprising fact or statistic. Now this one, when done well, can be very effective. When done poorly, it can be distracting. You need to, for this one, you use a surprising fact or statistic to hook the reader. Something true. It has to be something true that you can prove. Okay, don't just say 9 out of 10 men are better leaders than women. What? What? Where did you get that fact from? Oh, well, my brain told me that, and that's what. No. I'm sorry, but that statistic is not going to work. It needs to be something from a source that is reliable, something that you can trust. Okay. Now, this example that I'm going to use, I'm going to tell you now that it is not a statement that I agree with. However, you may be writing about a topic like this. So this is a hook. According to www.whitehouse.gov, since 1789, the year George Washington was sworn into office, there have been 44 presidents. In all that time, there has never been a female president. This shows that the country believes a male leader is better than a female leader. Now, if you wanted to do the flip side of this, you could change that, use that same statistic. And what I like about facts is you can twist it to whatever you want it to say. So you can use that same statistic and then say, however, look at all the wars we've been involved in because of male leadership. Look at the economic troubles that we've had because of male leadership. Or you could point to any number of things that have gone on wrong to prove your point. The point is, a surprising fact will hook your reader in. Okay, but it needs to be true, needs to be proven. You need to be able to prove and show where you got that information from. Don't just say I made it up, or I got it off the top of my head, or I can't remember where it came from. You need to be able to prove it. Okay. The last one is a famous one and famous person, and this is probably the one that would hook the most people. However, this is also the one that can be the most challenging to do well, because sometimes you just throw it in and it looks like you're just using it as a trick to get someone to read your essay. Sometimes it's done well. So for a famous person, you use information about a famous person to hook the reader in, to get their attention, and then they want to know more about it because they either like or dislike that famous person. Okay? It must be true, just like the statistic, and you make sure you use this one carefully. And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone really famous. It could be something, for example, in this example, it's about a TV show. It could be a character from a movie. It could be a character from a TV show. Characters are great ways to demonstrate what you're trying to say. So in my example, Hoarders is a depressing TV show. It tells the stories of people who spend their lives keeping everything that enters their house. Most of the homes have stacks and stacks of stuff from wall to wall. It's often difficult to even walk in the homes. The show shows people trying to encourage the homeowners to get rid of some of their stuff for many reasons, including the health of the people who live there and the family relationships that are strained by the living situation. This show demonstrates that chaos is a bad thing. So my claim is this show demonstrates that chaos is a bad thing. That's my claim. Chaos is a bad thing, and I use the show Hoarders to demonstrate that. Okay? So again, I'm using a TV show, so it's not really a famous person, but it's a famous show, something that people might know to connect to my essay. Okay? So those are the four. You've got your historical, you've got your anecdote, you've got your surprising statistic, and you've got your famous person. Use one of those to make your intro spicy. Remember, you must keep it true, keep it interesting, You're drawing the reader in, but most importantly, make it spicy. Woo!